Hello, I'm John Najarian from the International Crypto and ICO channel, and I'm here with Andrew Prell of Convergence. Hi, Andrew. Great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, John.
Wonderful to be here with you, sir. You have a very exciting space because it's something near and dear to virtually everybody that watches cryptos and ICOs, and it's video games, intellectual property around those games, and so forth. So tell us a little bit about why Convergence is going to disrupt the likes of Microsoft or Electronic Arts, and or just to be a big competitor to people who have been established players in that market for so long.
Well, we deal with cross-reality, not to be confused with just virtual reality or augmented reality. Think of cross-reality as cross-platform. Cell phones, tablets, consoles, PCs, arcade machines, location-based entertainment, and theme park attractions, all intertwined. Standard screen interfaces, which is the majority of interfaces, virtual reality interfaces, which is the sex and sizzle,
right,
and augmented reality interfaces. So no matter how you enter this virtual universe, you get to interact with everybody else in the virtual universe on the different planets or basically different games.
And really, what got you into this space? I mean, you know, like I say, I know this is a hot space. I know virtual reality and, as you say, cross reality, where you're hitting multiple parts of this, are really, you know, pretty important to a lot of the gamers right now. How did you get involved in it?
I've been programming games since I was about 12. I created the first U.S. manufactured virtual reality arcade system, second one in the world back in the 90s. The content was around Wolfenstein. It was Wolfenstein VR. I'm actually the one that talked John Carmack out of it.
I love Wolfenstein. I do. That's a fabulous game.
I got the source code from Carmack, and then first thing we did with it after getting that up on there was we made it multiplayer, and we came up with CyberTag. So I came up with a lot of friends in the industry from that they grew up and did some really cool things.
So I imagine Convergence has some pretty cool technologists working with you on this now?
Igor Levitz has worked with me since the 90s. We're on several patents together. Paul Baker, who has been on over 26 of the top-selling AAA titles in the world. Ron Miners, who was the community director for The Sims. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. It's a really strong team.
Right, you were able to draw from a pretty deep bench because you were one of the original players in the space, really. One of the guys that was, like I say, working on one of my favorite games. Do you have any board members who would immediately come to mind for folks as far as exciting members there?
Bernie Stoller, who was the former president of Atari, former president of Mattel Interactive, and Sega. He was credited with creating the Dreamcast, and he was credited with killing the Dreamcast.
Credited or charged with?
Yes, all the above. We've got Keith Tier, who was one of the co-founders of TechCrunch. He's also a member of ICO Box. We've got David Drake, who's been on your show before. He's
Love David.
Very big in the crypto space. We've got Desmond Marshall, who is very big in the crypto space out in Asia. He's out of Hong Kong. We've got Kevin Backus, who was one of the original team members that created the Xbox network. We've got Kevin Williams, who was one of the team members that created Disney Quest. He's a very big consultant in the entertainment industry. So yeah, we've got a very big bench even in our advisors.
Let's touch on somebody's watching and listening about your ICO, which sounds pretty enticing. Tell me a little bit about, okay, ultimately, John, here is our client, or here's somebody that would be using Convergence for where you guys are going from here.
Well, we've got a B2B and a B2C model. We're basically democratizing all of the independent game developers and bringing them together. There's 10 million of them. We're bringing them together as a coalition to go up against the major publishers. So we come up with the tools and the techniques on how to do cross-reality and help get them published in it. But also the players, the direct players, which is kind of like the diamonds that everybody searches for. So they'll be using our augmented reality app, which is Sarah, Silicon Nexus augmented reality app. They'll be using all the different endpoints and interacting that way. So.
Wow. So to me, rather than having a big competitor that we already spoke of, whether it's Microsoft or Electronic Arts, Take-Two Interactive, whoever it might be. Instead, if you put together a crazy number like 10 million folks who have done programming for games, you might get a completely wild experience. No, seriously,
yes.
by putting something like that together, because almost like a crowdsourced game, not just the players, but the games and the realities themselves.
Well, we're a large platform, a virtual universe, and all the different planets in there are different experiences. If you've ever read Ready Player One, our team was given the book halfway into the process, and we're like, is this guy looking over our shoulders? I mean, this was very credible, but it was a very large virtual universe where all the planets were different experiences, and people can live, work, learn, and play in the oasis, which is hopefully what we'll evolve into.
Right. Given that you've got one of the guys from Sims, I'm not surprised that it's kind of put together in that way. So obviously one of the most popular games of all time, and something that people still use today. So creating an entire universe around this, that's a pretty big endeavor for you, for anybody. But the ICO will allow you to do that.
Yes, we will leverage a lot of the tokens to pay the developers to allow them to eat while we build this thing up, because it's a very, very large project. And before there was even an ICO market, we took a space at SIGGRAPH back in 2015, talked to 250 independent game developers and asked them if they would work on planets or assets for the universe. And 140 of them signed up on the spot within 2 days, which averaged out, if we had started back then and we didn't, to about $14 million worth of labor in just 2 days. So these people were hungry for it, they really want it, and we think we're bringing it together in the right way.
I think you are too. Well, Andrew Purcell, thank you very much, sir. Andrew, he is with Convergence, folks. You want to see more about it, make sure you tune in to the International ICO and Crypto channel, and we'll be talking about that, give you some outtakes and some more input from Convergence on the ICO channel.